We'll now convene this March 19th, 2026 Town Council Budget Work Session. We will start with the Citizens Forum. Are there any citizens that wish to address the council? Okay, we'll roll into discussion. First up, let's do donations because I think we have people here.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, the back of your budget packets I gave you today has the 10-year history. It's the very last page. I tabbed them out the best I could for you. But it shows you the 10-year history of donations, so you could kind of have that to look at. We invited both that had applied for donations to come tonight and give a presentation, and we had one show up, so if you wanted to start with that.
I thought we had 3. I'm confused.
The third one said they're gonna wait.
Okay.
Till next fiscal year.
All right.
So we if you want to come on up and.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
ma'am. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. All these chairs are huge, you know that, right? So my name's Barb Pivick, for those of you I haven't met. I'm with the Queen Anne's County Historical Society. I'm actually a past president and a longtime board member. I'm currently not sitting on the board, but I am an advisor for them, and I've been working on our capital grants. One of the things that I do want to start out by saying is thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. You guys have been a great support, especially in the last couple of years, and with your support and with the county support and other grants that we have won, hopefully, depending upon the vote at the board meeting tonight, the remainder of Tucker House will start to be painted tomorrow. And that's a really big deal because it means every side will be painted and every window will be painted. And it hasn't happened for decades. So, but I'm here tonight about Wright's Chance because we've raised almost enough funds, and we have great hopes that with pledges from other people that we're going to raise the remainder to replace a 61-year-old roof. And we have the bids in. They've come in a little higher than what they have, but we really think we've got that handled. What we would like to do and what we're asking for tonight is help with painting the facade of Wright's Chance and the south wall minimally, so that as people drive up Commerce Street, they'll be able to see a building that is not only got the proper signage on it now, but has a brand new roof and has a pretty face. So the package that I sent you detailed a request for $8,500. The one thing I would like for you to understand is that the facade is not painted. It is stained, and it's always been stained. And the reason for that is because the clapboard was put on in 1964, and rather than painting it, they stained it. And what happens is it lasts a lot longer. So I'd recently got some different quotes and some closer quotes, and for those two sides, the front side and the side, I'm actually going to do something probably people don't do to you, and that is say I don't need that much. I only need $6,900 to paint the front and the south side. Now, if you wanted to, and you wanted to support us to have that entire building painted, we're looking for a total of $13,000, but we're not asking you to totally do that. We would raise the remainder of the money, but it just wouldn't probably be in this year. So new roof, new paint jobs, all for 2026, which I think is pretty remarkable. The other thing that I would like to tell you is that the society feels very much that they are a part of the town of Centreville, not just because the buildings are here, but because of our programming brings people to Centreville. Our amazing portraits, Untold Stories, The World of Thomas L. McKinney, which opened October 2nd and closed January 20th, received over 720 visitors. And those visitors came from 4 counties and 3 states. We actually had people from Winterthur who, when they were in town, made it a point to come by. We had people from the Smithsonian, and we had people from American University make it a point to come out here for that exhibit. The current exhibit is called When and Where We Gather, and it's about African American society in Centreville and in Queen Anne's County in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So I invite you there. And you all know that we renovated last year our basement, which we call the gathering room, and now have that available for people to have meetings in. And I think, and you all have had a meeting there. So we're very happy to welcome our local businesses and give them some opportunity to come and see Queen Anne's County history. So is there any question that someone might like to ask me?
I need to ask our president a question, because I may need to recuse myself from this for...
Because you were previously on the board?
I may still be on the board. I'm just not, I've taken a leave of absence since I got here.
We would have to ask ethics that. I don't know the answer to that. But we're not making any decisions to strike the budget tonight, so it would be a conversation tonight. Your perspective is certainly, in my opinion, from an ethics standpoint, still welcome in conversation. If you feel you have to recuse yourself when we do any formal voting on it, I understand that.
I just want to
Yeah,
pay attention to our protocol with,
yeah.
so,
Our ethics is in the town, for whatever reason, is super, super narrow
right.
to like personal enrichment. So,
They've never paid me a dime.
I know, it costs you money to be involved in the Historical Society, certainly, not the other way around. So no, I think you're okay. Certainly for the sake of discussion, you're fine.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify that.
appreciate that. Any questions?
So I do have a question. So as it relates to the painting, is the county providing any funding associated with the painting?
Yes, the county has provided $20,000 towards the roof of Wright's Chance, and they've provided, in this fiscal year, and they've provided $5 for Tucker House. So, and it was really a wonderful gift and contribution because we wrote a letter and they provided the funds within 30 days of writing the letter. So we're very pleased and happy about that.
So that was 2026.
Pardon me?
Current year we're in, 2026?
Yes.
So for 2027, is there any contributions or asks being made by the county?
Not by the county at this point, yes.
Okay, just wanted to know that. Okay.
You mentioned painting only the front face and this, I'm always directionally challenged, the south end that faces the library, if that's the south end.
Yeah, that's the request that we've made, is because typically what Centreville has supported us with are facade grants, because it's what you see from the road. And I'm not saying that my request is that narrow, but I just wanted to put it in context with our history with the town. And so that's what we were asking for, was to paint those two sides.
And that total amount was?
That total amount is, the reduced amount is $6,900.
Just for those two sides?
Yeah, and I had originally asked for $8,500. And the total amount I got in for the whole building, and that's all the windows, everything, is $13,000. So,
And they have to, again, it was stained, so they have to bring it down to bare wood and then apply paint?
no,
Okay.
they don't, because the, I mean, there is some sanding that needs to be done, but because it's stained, it doesn't warp and peel like
Okay.
paint does.
I was just trying to get back to the cost, as far as if there was additional labor required, because it was stained and you're transitioning it to paint, so that was the reason.
And we've done what we can via facade grants.
So they have, they received, they're finishing out one and they have received another 15,000, but not, that's for
That's for the roof.
the roof.
Yes. So you gave us $15,000 pledge for the roof last year. And so that, the roof lays out like this. We won a $13,000 National Trust Bartis True grant. That needed to be matched. Our president came to you guys and you matched that with 15,000. So our match is good. And then we've raised and have other donations that are in the amount of about $40,000. And then we have a pledge for 10. So the roof itself, the first part of the process is to have the bricks pointed. They will be pointed, and we haven't gotten the final quote on that, because once you go out and you get all these quotes for your grants, and then the time lags.
I know.
So you gotta rebid them. But we had, the mason was there last Friday. We expect to have that. We have 2 bids on our roof that have just come in, and the roof itself is running about $60,000. So we really appreciate your help with that. It's a big deal. We're not having water penetration, and a lot of people are unaware that the Historical Society in 2015 prepared a preservation plan. Barton Ross, who's a historic architect, prepared for us a very extensive preservation plan, and it actually details out when we need to do things. So it's not just a volunteer board and a lot of people who like history that are making these decisions. And so it's now, we were supposed to do it in 2016. The recommendation was that we'd replace the roof in 10 years. And so it's now 2026. And so we're about a year behind, but we're not having any issues with it other than the fact that it has a lot of moss on it, and it will start weeping. The roof that will be put on the museum will be either in kind or better. So we have it coming in. Mr. Lynn's Roofing has presented a bid, and the people who have done Cloverfields have presented a bid, and they're very competitive. So what we're doing right now is going back to Barton Ross, who's also the engineer for the project, and asking, what's the difference between this and what's the difference between that? Because I build towers, I don't put roofs on. So we really feel like we need that kind of professional guidance to make sure that it gets done appropriately.
Your
Awesome.
request today for the 6,500 is for the paint, not the roof, because that's.
Correct.
the-
I'm
the
not
roof
asking
part.
for anything today for
Just
the
in the interest of time, because I don't want you to run over, exhaust your time, and not to muddy the waters too much. When I was active on the board, I would ask this kind of question. For the painting or this restaining of those 2 sides of the building, has it been explored to have any volunteer people to do some of that labor to reduce the cost?
You know, there are, in every grant that we get, there's in-kind contributions that involve volunteers, but it's really just not a good idea to get volunteers to paint a 1794 house or 1744 house. It's primarily not the walls, it's the windows.
I've been painting my 1771 house. So.
I'm sure, Fred, and I knew you would tell me that. knew
So I
you
think
would
he's
tell me
saying he
that.
volunteers.
Right, exactly. Well, I do know he's quite the carpenter, and he's actually helped us with Tucker House, so we're not opposed to volunteers. But in this instance, I think it's
We
better
can offer
left
2 Freds to help.
yeah.
He doesn't want me. Barbara and I worked 30 years ago on a cable contract. We know better, don't you?
But thank you for your question.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. I would love to explore the go forward on facade grants. We just have more to talk about.
They
I
have
think they've exhausted what they can do.
they reached their max for,
Okay.
we have one open right now. They actually just closed out the last one for the remaining amount that we had for, I think it was Wright's.
For Tucker
Chance.
House.
Oh, for Tucker House.
Yeah.
And then they have a 15,000 one now for this round that we have. We only do
Right.
one 15,000 for
Right,
one.
the round.
Yes.
Right, I meant in the new fiscal year, if there's more facade money.
When,
if we
yes,
don't know
when we
yet.
apply for more, but
Yeah.
that would be, yes, we would probably find that out in January, February
Okay.
is when we would find out.
Just curious, kind of get the full picture of what, where we can do things. I appreciate you coming in. It was super helpful to
problem.
me.
Thank you, Barbara.
It's
Great.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
We're really looking forward to doing more, bigger and better things here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so just as part of the donation discussion, I just wanted to let you know, page 5 is your A10 budget. Right now, the current budget, which has been lowered over the years, is $1,000. So I wanted to make that a part of the discussion, and
I think we have to come back to it kind of at the end.
yes. And I know, like, we invited the Historical Society and the Arts Council out.
Yeah, and the Arts Council,
I didn't hear
you
from
hear
you. I
back.
didn't know.
Okay, you use the contact info on their application?
Yep.
Okay,
So, and I reached
Hey.
out twice.
all right.
Any more discussion then? We good on
I
the
think,
donations?
I think we just have to come back to donations, like I said at the end, once we see where things are.
Okay.
And, yeah, we can circle back to it.
All right, next thing on the agenda is salary. Crystal, want to come up and with your, you handed out stuff, right? Yes, okay. All right, so let me find mine so I can show you what it looks like. Should look like, yep, that's it.
I did pass out the requested estimated position cost sheets. I believe you guys said A92, but I included all departments. So I know that you just received it, so I'm not entirely sure.
It looks like this,
Would
Ashley.
you, I have another copy if you need.
It's somewhere up here, guys.
It's
fine.
Yeah,
But you need yours, Fred.
I was gonna share with Carol.
She needs her own.
You can't share?
I've seen
Oh,
it.
it's under my notebook.
Look, she found it.
Okay, found it.
That's all right.
There was quite a few trees today, right?
And it's like, okay.
So I do have them broken down by department, because Karen and I always work closely together to make sure our totals match. And I mean, going through this, I did explain to the council that I do have a summary
You guys.
on each of the pages, just to show that the last column on that chart is inclusive of all of, the calculated taxes and fringe benefits. If I were to have it all displayed, you would have like a
Yeah, no,
15 by 20 piece of paper.
appreciate the condensed.
Yeah. It's very minuscule.
3 point.
So I figured you'd probably want some time to review, and, please let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
I'm in the office, so if you wanted to come in and sit down with me, I'd be more than happy to go over any questions you may have.
Awesome.
And this is a line I know we're gonna hear later at the meeting associated with the 50 percentile and all that. This incorporates
Yep,
that.
so,
Is
yep,
that right?
so on the top of that chart, right below the titles of the departments, I have in there what's inclusive. So if the new salary scale that's going to be asked during the town council meeting, if the new salary scale is approved for an April 1 date, then that's what the salary as of July 1, 2026 is. And then the 40th percentile with step and 3% mid-year COLA. So it's not a full year estimate, it's a half year.
I see it now.
And in the dark blue boxes, those columns are broken down so you can see what the estimated cost of each of those would be.
Pieces, yeah.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask, how do our salaries compare with other towns our size?
Well, you're gonna actually hear that during
Town
the town
meeting.
council meeting.
Okay,
I do have Karen Campbell with PayPoint HR, who is the company we used to facilitate the compensation and classification study. And so she'll be speaking to
meeting.
that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
All
thanks
right.
for that.
Oh, not a problem.
Easy peasy. All right,
So far.
the next piece on the agenda would be the Main Street. Gay had sent out some information earlier. She also printed,
Yeah, it was a lot to look at on, frankly, my computer. And so I would love to have some time with it
To
now
go
that we
through
have
it.
physical copy.
Do you have any questions on the setup? Do you understand that I kind of did a overview?
so we kind of just did a baseline summary on the 2 events and then her grants. All the detail, sorry, Gay, I took away your.
No, you can
Oh,
talk.
I appreciate it. I will say, was just like a little fascinated about Centerville Day being so all over the place, up and down. Like what, I just,
And I think her detail sheets show each
Show why,
year
yeah.
a bit. So I know, like, it was just dependent on, like, some donations were bigger some
Yeah.
years, some expenses were different.
wild all over the place. And, you know, really appreciate seeing this Maryland crafted sheet. It's kind of what I was looking for last year when we never really got a clear picture on the fact that it's never made a single dollar.
But the donation, so what it shows is, the negative just means the donations didn't cover the cost of the event, but we
Yeah.
have an events line for Main Street in her budget. So it's not really negative as it's, we applied it to the budget.
Yeah, I mean, it is in a silo, it is though. When we think about investment of staff time against the, you know, unless, I mean, that's full revenue, right? Including ticket sales and everything.
Yes.
I'm just saying that's a lot of work to net -$8.
Yeah, I don't think we ever do it to
Make money.
make money on. We always do it
Because
to,
the events are free,
yeah, the events are all free. so.
except for a tasting pass if you want to drink.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's a free event in the way that it's always free to stand in the street. I'm just, I mean, I think we have to be honest about what things cost in man hours and everything else too. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not, obviously, I think there's value in community events that don't bring in money. First Fridays brings in not $1, it doesn't attempt to bring in $1. But when we're out there asking businesses for money and then, you know, I have feelings about drinking events, period. And then, like, for what, I guess is how I look at it. Now, I said last year, I'm committed to us doing it at least one more year, personally, with the rebranding, and let's see how it goes. But I just think we need to be thoughtful about the way staff are spending their time.
I mean, I agree with that, as far as, again, having clear goals about what are the goals of each event. So if it's a community event, people enjoy it, families come, that's a different, as far as just from that. As it relates to Maryland Crafted, that to me is something where you're bringing people from other areas. It's a different event, right, of
Yeah.
what that is. So I think, and if you compare that event to other towns that have similar events, you know, they're probably, you know, they're bringing it for people to come to the town and patronize the town and see the town, but they're usually making money on those types of events, on that type of an event, I would think. So again, just comparing it to other towns that do that type of event. So I put them in different categories, and I just think, what is the goal of the event? What's it trying to achieve?
Yeah, ditto. For me, Centerville Day never has to make $1. That's not what it's about.
I mean, some of the highlights of me living in Centerville is your First Fridays, right?
Well,
I
it's
mean,
probably the end of that too, but yeah.
well, and it shouldn't be, okay? The market on Sundays, I mean, I sit out there for 2 or 3 hours and talk to people. Same thing with First Fridays. We have a veterans booth, and thanks to your efforts, I meet 10 veterans every time. I mean, we don't have to make money and everything. I do agree with you on the
No.
drinking thing.
I
Is it-
think,
Yeah.
yeah, to me, it's like Sandy was saying, and sorry, I just got my voice back and apparently not fully. The drinking event is not about Centerville residents. It's not about celebrating anything about Centerville, really.
How does the
It's
state of Maryland sponsor?
gotta be a
beer
revenue
day?
driver to me.
I mean, it's, as a health teacher for 30 years, we're teaching people to drink responsible, and then we have an event where everyone walks past my house, Chesterfield Ave, half drunk. Now, is that
Or
state
whole
money? Yeah.
So,
What event are you referring to?
to drink Maryland Craft
Drink
Day.
Maryland. And we have an event here, Fred, where the people, it's fine, microbreweries, whoever the hell is doing it, but what are we promoting as a town? Where
just-
your
yeah.
First Friday, there's no alcohol. At the market on Sundays, there's no alcohol. It's packed and it's a great gathering.
Yeah, I mean, I would even argue it's not our event, but the Arts Council's Rockin' the Porch was just as
Yes,
good the
that was
first year
great.
without alcohol as
Yeah.
it was the second year with alcohol. And so, but just to me, and like, nothing against alcohol, y'all, it's fine. I come to Maryland Crafted, I drink at Maryland Crafted. I just think when we think about the investment of time and effort and frankly, money, whether it's grant money or it's still money and it's still a taxpayer dollar somewhere, making sure that it's providing some sort of value back. And now maybe it is, and it's just not, it's not every event's for every person, and maybe it's just not for me, and I don't recognize the
agree with you.
value, and there's a ton of value in it somewhere else. But to me, like Centreville Day, if Centreville Day was costing us a couple $1,000s, that would be okay with me, because you see like every kid in the community and every family and people of all ages really enjoying the town, and it's got a different vibe. To me, that's a friend raiser. Doesn't need to be a fundraiser. I don't know. Like I said, I think we can do another year of Maryland Crafted. I think we should evaluate who our partners are. I think there's just a whole bunch of like non-budget work session related digging in to do there. But Gay and Karen, I really appreciate all this information. I need more time with it personally. It's so like, this is maybe too much info, but I appreciate having it.
I mean, that's not, let me continue with it. That's not lose First Friday, and that's not lose
Well-
other things. Oh, let me just finish. What in the world are we, a town promoting, or a state promoting alcohol use? Is that our role?
I think we're promoting small businesses. I think you can look at it that way.
Okay, but not alcohol. I don't.
Well, small alcohol selling businesses and other vendors
I
there
like
as
a good
well.
Guinness, but I don't want to do it with 3,000 or 300 other people where
mean,
the
if-
state's paying for it. I don't think that makes
Well, the
sense.
state's not paying for it, but if 3,000 people came, then it would make money.
I've got a question because I haven't been that involved with Centerville Day from a drinking standpoint. I was involved with the Rockin' the Porch thing where alcohol was served, and I happened to be one of the bouncers at the corners
Yeah.
and making sure nobody left the town square. And I'm not aware of a single violation of that because.
Oh, and it's locked down tight at Maryland Crafted as well. It's not people leaving with alcohol, it's just people leaving after they've been there all day. Like, I certainly walk home, so maybe there's someone on Water Street being like, man, that lady walks half drunk past my house every year. But, like, I think he's just saying, in general, it promotes drinking.
Yeah, what are we doing? Is that the responsibility or the role of government? You promote local businesses, you promote microbreweries, but I don't think we promote, public displays of alcohol use. And that's an old health teacher. I have nothing against alcohol. Fred, I drank more Guinnesses than you did on St. Patrick's Day, but no.
Didn't have a single one.
Come on, man, what are you doing? Anyway, that's.
Yeah, I think there's just some digging in to
Yes.
do here, and, First Fridays is another conversation. I think it exists somewhere in the events line in the budget, but from a manpower standpoint, First Fridays has been a lot of help from Public Works, like dropping off tables and trash cans, a lot of help from the police being there, but like night of, the physical moving of tables, that's me and my husband. Booking the musicians, that's me and a couple of volunteers, and I'm not doing it this year.
And you
I am
shouldn't have to
gone every single First Friday. So I am on either work trips or personal travel, May, June, July, and August. So if First Fridays are gonna continue, we're gonna have to decide that that's worth an investment of staff time to do, and maybe it's not. I mean, I think it's a wonderful event, obviously. I started it. I think it is a wonderful event, but I think we just have to think about,
What we're gonna sponsor.
and it's not just the money that it costs to fund an event. First Fridays is relatively free. The musicians are $250 a month. You're talking about you get the whole season for $1,000. But the staff time of delivering tables, the staff time of cutting checks for musicians, the time that I spend that would need to be replaced by someone else to get vendors there, and I'm willing to, I mean, I'm not gonna be at any of them, but I'm willing to do some of that behind the scenes stuff, don't get me wrong. But just as we think about Main Street, as we think about economic development, as we think about events, we need to figure out what the end game is. And it's certainly not, to me, the balance sheet on Maryland Crafted. But like I said, we said last year we would do 2 years.
And your First Fridays have grown. I mean, you've got to the point now where you've got a nice crowd, you have kids, you have adults, and it's become a community event. I mean, if we have to get staff time and pay staff to be there, then that's stupid. You shouldn't have to do it. I mean, Harry carried the table for me every Friday night for a while, and your kids, right? So
Yeah.
the point is.
And I'm gonna miss them this summer, whether they happen or not, and I'm not there. It just that's the way my calendar shook out. But all right,
Just one last point. Being involved with economic development, one of the things that we've been looking at is getting designated as an arts and entertainment district. And the more we cut back on these kinds of
No, I
events,
know.
the less likelihood, that's ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna be expanding our reputation as a community, that wants to support those kinds of things if we diminish a lot of that. So
No, I
just
agree.
wanna-
No, I
just
think-
wanna put that out there.
listen, I think, anything we can do, especially with music, we have such a vibrant community here. I mean, something that I'm really proud of about First Friday that I wish Rockin' the Porch could say is that the musicians all come from here. They're Queen Anne's County-based musicians. And so, like, I think it is awesome from an arts and entertainment district standpoint to be able to say, like, we're supporting the local arts, right here in town and giving them opportunities to display their talents. But let's spend some time. So when's our next budget work session?
Next
April
Thursday.
2nd.
April 2nd, right? We're not having one next week.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
we have-
I was wrong, 2 weeks.
Oh, it is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have one next week. Okay.
I was about to say.
So we do have a small break.
Okay, so that'll give us some time. So let's all put some thought into what you think about the sort of events universe. We can come back to that line. Same thing with donations. And then we need to dig in on a couple of other things.
So sorry, just to confirm, is it April 2nd?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have a closed session April 2nd. So is it the closed session
Okay.
for the, or do we have so is it wrong, is there a closed session on April 2nd? I'm just trying to make certain of schedule.
I
can
think
do
we were
this
doing that
afterwards.
if we
Okay.
have all the applicants for CEDA. I think that's what that was for.
I think
Fred's working through
I
them.
was gonna bring that up, but I don't know if now's.
Bring it up in
time.
the council meeting.
Just
Okay.
to confirm, okay.
All right, so everyone, be thinking about events, be thinking about what we think that should look like, dive in on this Main Street budget, and we'll discuss that at the April 2nd. And obviously, work can happen in between, not collectively, but you can meet with Gay, you can meet with Karen, you can meet with Carol, you can ask all the questions you have. I'm sure Carolyn is like already wondering when I'm gonna come talk to her about First Friday. It'll probably be super soon. So yeah. All right,
Yeah, so
what-
please, if something comes up, you're not sure, reach out,
Yeah.
we'll help you out.
So then there were some things on operating we wanted to go back to.
So if you look at page 2 of the packet, I just kind of put a summary of the changes we made last week. And so Crystal and I went back and reviewed salary and benefit, and based on like staffing levels and vacancies, there was some tweaking of a couple of the salary and benefit lines. The legislative dinner, which is in A10, we added $3,000 to the budget line from 5 to 8. We removed the grant writer, as she had passed away after we had already put it in the budget. Capital changes, we removed the $70,000 expenditure for the computers for the police vehicles, as we're gonna cover it in the current fiscal year. So now you're looking at a new budget with a general fund surplus of $98,493 and an enterprise fund surplus of $8,905.
Okay. At our council retreat, we had discussed prioritizing getting economic development staffing back in the universe. And it's tough to do that with such a tight budget, but I think we do need to do that. So do we want to talk about that next, guys? It'd be an A92, right?
Yes. So A92 is on page,
Give us a page
get you
number,
to the right
please.
page.
A92 is on
8.
page 8.
So, an economic development position would be inclusive of the A92 budget?
Right, it would have to be in this budget.
Yep.
Right now, we have, so it used to be that we had halftime Main Street, halftime economic development, and then we eliminated the halftime economic development, which was supposed to be temporary, while we sort of adjusted. To me, the right decision is probably making that one full-time position, but then we have to hire for it. I mean, certainly our current Main Street manager could possibly be interested, I don't know. But it might not be the easiest thing in the world to hire for it, is my one concern.
Is there a part-time
Because
position?
of salary, you think the attractive rate?
Yeah, just because of, it's difficult. It's difficult for us to find sometimes specialized staff like that.
things that are difficult that are still worthwhile.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Is there a part-time person interested in full-time?
I don't know the answer to that. We're not gonna have a conversation about an individual personnel publicly, though. Do we have any estimate on what that position, I don't know if you guys did any digging after we talked about it at retreat, any estimate on what that position would cost?
I think we've done some preliminary.
Crystal, you wanna come up? Doesn't look like you do, but. And listen, I know it's a difficult conversation, we're talking about repositioning some positions.
So when you're looking at a full-time, classified position, you know, if we're looking at a range of, for a specialized position of those job duties, I mean, the salary of like, let's say, I don't know, anywhere between
Do you need to
75 or
research,
85,000. Well, I mean, we did discuss it. I did do some research, but
Okay.
you know, you have to also tack on.
I think there was one that was a certain number and another one that
Right,
was
they're all
like
over the place.
$20,000
Yeah,
more,
I
and it
mean,
was
there's
just
I
very.
think
And
Kent
then benefits and
County,
all that.
you know, I know that Kent County, I think recently hired, or is, you know, actively looking for an economic development manager, but their starting salary was like in the 90s.
That was a Main Street meeting.
Or excuse me, Main Street manager.
Chester
A full-time Main Street
Chestertown.
manager.
Yeah.
Which they're gonna
Oh,
treat the
Chester
same
Town.
way.
That's okay.
I think it's fair to say that in a lot of smaller towns, the Main Street manager is also economic development.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if you're counting in all the benefits, I mean, you're looking at easy 150,000, you know, for a position if you're trying to estimate whether whether they're eligible for state retirement or health insurance,
Right.
you know, life insurance, all of those things would have to be considered on top of the salary itself.
Would it be about half that if we're converting a part-time to a full-time?
Potentially, I think it'd be a little less than half. I think it'd be more than, I think
It'd be more than twice what we're paying now.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, yeah.
But you can look and see on page 2 of this one.
Of that sheet, yeah, of the position cost
Salary.
sheet
get there,
for A92.
a sure this one.
Okay, what I would like, and we need to get consensus for this, but in the next budget book, if there's consensus for that, to do a little bit of additional research and have that position built in as a repurposing of the current part-time position. And then it doesn't mean nothing's final until we strike the budget.
Right, I mean, I think overall, in general, I've supported it, you know, I've talked about it for the last 6 months. And I think a lot of towns have a full-time position. I don't think that's untrue. I mean, I think it is economics, it's both Main Street and economic development. So it's quite common. So no matter what you want to call it, whether it's Main Street, Director of Economic Development. So I think it's important that we devote the investment to it, just because how important it is to the town. And I just think it's, you know, having a part-time is difficult to execute on things. And doing different things with business owners, and again, they're not gonna be an event coordinator, but events comes with that. It's just a matter of how much, and that's where you're balancing it. So, I mean, I do support it as far as just doing it, and just as we kind of navigate this budget in general.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've spent a lot of time over the last 3 or 4 months in economic development. Had a meeting today with a business owner here in town. And the more people I talk about and the list that I'm accumulating of those I think might end up being on the CETA authority board, they're gonna need some support and organization to keep, you know, to make them effective. I've gone back to, on our website, I kind of wish it wasn't there, but it was important that how ineffective the CETA board became because nobody was showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was multiple ordinances that, in meetings, town council meetings, where they couldn't get a quorum, or they had one person show up for
Yeah.
So we're gonna need to have some mechanism and probably some body to help drive and
Yeah.
make that a cohesive organization and effective, otherwise we're wasting our time.
Agreed. And I
Because
think-
these are all volunteer people that are gonna be participating with this, and you need someone to really drive and make it effective.
Yeah, boards are only as effective as you make them be, right? You have to give them opportunities to engage. So if people aren't engaged, they're not engaged. So,
So action item then would be to come with the next one with the salaries updated to include this as a full-time position so you can see.
convert it to a full-time position and let us see that.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
On the same, so, I'm not on the same. No, you're good, you're good. No.
I mean, who knows? Don't get too comfortable.
All right. So currently, we have the surplus of 98,000. I also wanted to revisit the one capital item discussed of the parking study for 65,000. That's currently in the general fund. You'd wanted to think about it some more and talk about it again, to decide if we're gonna keep it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, I think there's several more things we need to revisit, but do you want to do that one now? Parking study? Are you not ready yet?
Well, no, I am. I think I think the parking study, as I mentioned last meeting, and Peter and I have talked, I think we have a parking study that hasn't changed much as far as the town and what's happened in the town. And I think Peter's doing a great job as far as in Salisbury, GSI.
GIS, yeah.
GIS. And so I think we're able to do this and not spend $65,000. And again, it's not capital, it's expense, but it wasn't put in the operating budget, so it's not gonna affect that number, it's just cash.
Well, it will affect the overall, because the capital is accounted for in the summary sheet. So I slide it over just for transparency purposes to see. So that it'll add 65,000 to the surplus.
So you did for this draft,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No,
So you
that's
moved
okay.
it.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yep.
So now this number you're speaking to includes a negative $65,000.
Correct.
That's okay. So, I mean, I'm comfortable with it. I think Peter's very comfortable with it, which I rely on Peter. I mean, Peter understands, as far as what the planning commission
wanna
is
come up?
going to do.
I mean, it's up to you. It's just, let's play musical chairs.
A parking study.
I'm fairly comfortable with removing, I'm very comfortable with removing the
Let's
parking
say, whoa,
study.
she just said
Not
you're very
fairly, I'm very comfortable. I frankly think that with the development timelines that we have, projects coming through town, knowing what's happening, the parking is gonna take care of itself for Providence Farms and homes that are being built here. Frankly, a more effective strategy is doing something with parking in the central business district, right? We have, the planning commission has a lot of tools at their disposal based upon the parking ordinance. They can revise the parking up to like 50%, whatever. But those tools are also kind of limited. If you think of some of these vacant buildings, if they're gonna repurpose that building that's for a use that's significantly different than whatever it was, maybe it's 4 apartments and somebody wants to build something that is more of a public commercial space, right? Then it pushes them back into the parking realm. So, some kind of overhaul of maybe a moratorium on parking in the central business district to try to get people to redevelop these things. Those are gonna be more effective strategies than spending $60,000 on a parking study.
Right, we understand the lay of the land out there.
Yeah, so I think that's a discussion, strategy, how to go about it effectively relating to development within the business district. So again, it can be done differently without spending $65,000, so I agree with you.
Okay. Scared me there when you started with
quick.
you're fairly comfortable.
Like, woof.
Fairly comfortable.
Seemed like you really wanted a parking study, Peter, but it sounds like we're taking it away. Is everyone good getting rid of that in the budget?
Sorry to skip. I was just, those
No,
were
I think,
action
yeah,
items
no, we're in
I
a
kind of
a
wanted
place to do that, I feel. So everyone feels comfortable removing the parking study from the budget? We just have to give some consensus or the staff has no clue what to
Yes.
do. Okay.
All right, so those were all of the action items I had noted for rediscussion at this work session.
So I think we wanted to revisit, there's 2 positions proposed in Public Works.
Yes.
I think some
So
council
it's
people wanted to talk-
C11, and that would fall in page, let me get you there, 13
Yeah, I went too far.
of your budget. All right, and so currently, Crystal can speak to what's in the salary, Kip can speak to the impact or question, or for him, yeah.
We've just been really hesitant over the last couple of years to dramatically increase headcount. Not that 2 is dramatic, but we've been really careful about headcount because once you hire them, that's a forever cost in some ways. A long-term cost. You should plan for it forever.
Yes, yes. Yes. No,
Any questions or you want to bring
Yeah,
anything
I
up?
think, again, when I looked at the first draft of the budget, and I asked Kip at the time, like, is there vacancies currently with staff? They may not be this exact position, but as far as what the vacancy rate was for his department. Remind me what that was. I thought it was like,
so we have two seasonal part-time, so that's between April and end of September timeframe. And then, we have one full-time utility worker, skilled, utility worker.
that's vacant.
That's vacant
So
currently.
that's two positions, 2 FTEs. I use
Now,
the term
there's
FTE.
one full-time and then 2 temporary seasonal.
Temporary, just so it's not,
Correct.
like, is that a 0.5 for during the year?
0.25,
The 1.25
Yeah.
of FTEs that are.
so probably,
One
well,
and a half.
0.5 for both, yeah,
1.5 total.
1.5 total, thank you,
Okay,
yes,
just confirming, just so I'm not.
yes.
So we have 1.5 vacancy right now, and we're asking for 2. And I feel from that perspective, like can we have 1 instead of 2? That would be my, can we do that as it relates to that, given there's a current vacancy, and move, just kind of take half versus 2 full-time
And what we've
FTEs?
done previously when we've made changes to staffing proposed is say we'd revisit at mid-year. So there's nothing that says we can't come back to the budget at mid-year.
Right, it's not fixed.
But Kip, do you want to come and speak to why
I
you're,
can't speak for Kip.
Yeah,
Of
no.
course not, of course not.
None of us can speak
we're
for
just trying
Kip.
to, this is the most difficult budget year since I've been here. In terms of, there's just no room in this budget, like at all. And I know you guys have already cut stuff, so we're not trying to be mean, but
The reason we're asking for 2 more full-time, the services that the council asked of us to give to the residents, you were just talking about things, special events, those type of things. It's hard enough to find people that want to work to begin with, so we're in a much better shape as far as that compared to what it has been in past years. But and just look at how the parks have grown in the past 10 years.
yeah.
That's all more grass to mow, more maintenance, all that kind of stuff. There has been some development also. I mean, Northbrook has built out and Symphony Village has built out. So there's that much more road surfaces to keep up with. It's that much more snow to push. It's things like that. And we're actually, we used to have 4 more positions than what we currently have. All right? And that was as far as, I'm going to say, 8 years ago. So, and we haven't gotten any relief as far as what's coming down the road, what we need to now take care of, that kind of stuff. The town's grown, there's more and more services that are getting added to it. We only have so many people to work with, and all it takes is 2 of them to decide to go on vacation at one time, which is not a big ask.
Or
to
get
me.
sick,
Or get sick,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, right.
we're trying to prevent the
So,
burnout.
it's
Yeah.
all about the work and what you want done,
So can I ask, sorry, so are you saying over the years, the number of positions have been cut in your
Yes.
area? Over the last 5 years, 10 years?
I'm gonna say 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think it's been in the last couple. I think it was cut before the last
No, it
couple.
was,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think since I've been here,
yeah, no.
Okay.
which has been a
I
long
mean,
time at this
even,
point.
you take the number of homes that's been built since then, and add that to the equation too.
Right.
We also used to have very high turnover in Public Works. We
Yeah,
do
which
not
is
anymore.
Yeah.
I attribute that to Gary obviously
We know
Kip
offense,
too,
Kip, but we give Gary all the credit.
yeah. Gary is,
He deserves credit too. Absolutely.
Whenever I'm looking at budgets, I'm always looking at offsetting costs and in not just your department, but elsewhere, it seems that we have a lot of contract employees or consultants that we're paying. And is there any way that we could, if we hired 1 or 2 new people, that some of those contract services can be
No.
eliminated?
Because I can tell you right up front, you folks are not going to approve what it's going to cost to hire an engineer that we use as a consultant.
I was thinking, and I don't know what all the consultants are doing,
Well, pick one
or
for me.
services, if it's mowing, if it's plowing, or if it's doing other kind of work.
But the reason we hire a contractor to help us with the snow, we don't have the people or the equipment when these bigger storms happen.
And we don't want to be prepared for it every year.
No,
I get that.
right.
I just didn't know if there was any ongoing, I know we've got 3, I think, people, is it Susquehanna that, does, and I don't know if that's something that we could take in-house, or, I know we've talked
That's
about
the
that
plan.
before.
Yeah, it
No,
would
there's
cost
no way
significantly
we could
more.
possibly take that over for what it would cost to
For what
set
it
it back
costs.
up again.
Yeah.
We
That's
need
the
like
treatment
6 or
plant
7
and running
additional
of
staff.
the treatment
Right.
plant, yeah.
So you don't see any cost-saving opportunities?
If there was, I'd already done it by cutting, when we're losing employees, we've done the best we can. I don't ask for the world when we're working on this budget. I am trying to maintain the town, that's all. It would be different if we had trucks that looked like what State Highway has. They're always waxed polished. You don't see their trucks, being 12 years old,
Right.
We know.
So, again, you have to remember, when you want these things to happen, it's not gonna happen without the help or without having to pay somewheres for it.
I respect your judgment with that. I just always want to pursue,
No,
explore
I'm-
opportunities.
Yeah, I'd be glad to sit down with you anytime and talk over. Yeah, we have a contractor that weed eats the cemetery. When we were doing that, it was a week-long effort to try and use town staff to weed eat the cemetery.
You know how much I
and
love
still
to talk about the
keep up-
cemetery.
Still keep up with the streets and roads, the everyday. All of that kind of stuff when you add that into it.
We added sidewalks back into the purview. I mean, you're right. There's an increased workload, I think.
Kip, what I saw your team do this winter, one day you're clearing snow, at the same time taking care of broken pipes of freezing and breaking.
Yeah.
I see the great job we do in the grass cutting. I wish I had, win the lottery tomorrow, you need certainly more staff, and any deduction would be, services to the town would be, I think.
If I win the lottery, I'm gonna buy a new wastewater treatment plant, and name it after my mother-in-law. That's just my personal hopes and dreams.
By the way, Kip, you do a great job.
All right.
And I think the Crystal's salary sheet for C11 shows the
It
cost.
does. It's inclusive of the
the
two
two-
proposed
Too much paper,
positions.
guys.
Like if you just wanted to see what
I do.
they cost. So on Crystal's
Page
tab
4.
for C11,
Yeah,
it would be
Crystal's packet.
these are the proposed.
So it's the utility workers.
The one,
It's in the gray,
under-
the gray.
Oh, okay, utility worker 3. Got it, got it.
Yep.
One more.
And
And so-
these are already in, these
Proposed,
two,
so here's the
I have
cost.
to ask
Both
Karen.
positions are already in the
They're already in
budget.
They're in the budget.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
where I am, so for me, whenever I hear increasing headcount, it makes me nervous just because, like I said, it's the long-term cost. But I think, at least for me, you justified it to me in terms of, like, we have taken on, even just in my 4.5 years up here, more roads, additional sidewalks, the parks are expanding. We're gonna talk more about parks tonight. Like, there's a lot, and people are demanding more services, and we haven't raised the tax rate. People's tax bills are increasing because assessments are increasing, but we haven't raised the tax rate, but we do expect more. And so I think, I feel comfortable with leaving these 2 FTE in, but I'm only one person, so.
Yeah, I mean, just for information, I would like to know how your FTEs have been cut over the 5 year, whatever it is. It just gives me a reference point to kind of know that there were X FTEs, it was cut in, you know, just to give a sense of how your department has been impacted over the last 5, 8, whatever it was, you know. Because that's information I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
I can sit here and tell you exactly what it is, or what it was, but I'm not gonna sit here and point fingers.
No,
So-
I just,
and it's
no,
nobody
it's more about
here.
how much.
Right,
you
oh,
were
I
staffed.
know, nobody here, listen, by
It's
some,
more how much you were staffed, is all I'm saying.
It's a crazy
That you
turn
were
of
cut
events.
3
I've been here the
FTEs
longest.
or 4 FTEs, it's just to give me a reference point. It's
I
not-
think Crystal and I can do, like, go back 10 years and just see
yeah,
what.
no, I think that's
I have
helpful.
the, yeah, I was gonna say, I have the organizational charts
And
for-
listen,
Yeah.
if come mid-year, we've somehow still been unable to hire these positions, we can we can say, okay, this isn't reality, you know, budget against reality. But, all right, let's have that for the next meeting, the historical. But for me, you have my support, Kip, on keeping those positions in. You gotta work on these other people, but.
And what's in the budget for these two positions, that's to take effect as of the first of the,
July 1.
July
Yes.
so would you start recruiting now to hire then, or?
We'll
the
start before
process?
July
Yeah.
1, definitely.
Probably
I
May.
mean, we're,
We'd have to do
Or-
it once, like, once the budget is approved, like the positions have been officially approved, we would
Adopt it at the
begin
beginning of June.
the application,
For
or
the
the
position not to begin
announcement.
until July 1st.
and right now, we're actively looking now
Right.
to replace the vacant staff member, so.
So we
By
could use
doing that,
those.
yeah, some of those that come through, if there's a couple of them that look good, you know, somebody, hopefully we can call back in 1st of July.
Yeah,
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Or should I just?
I have a feeling you're not done, but who knows?
At least I'm getting stuff.
Keep going.
Okay.
All right, was there any other action items that I missed from last week that you guys wanted to go over?
Can I ask you a question, Karen? Can I-
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
By the way, thank you for Tuesday,
Yeah.
for the help and other staff members. On page 8 and 16 of the old binder, there is a significant cut to consultants,
Page 8,
8 and 16,
hold on,
Of the old packet.
the old packet, not the new one.
let me go back to last week's packet. Page,
Oh, mine's gotten out of order.
I think on.
Page 8 is
page eight-
A92.
yeah, 8, contract services, professional fees, $25,000 less, if I
What
read
line
that
is that
correctly.
on?
Page
Oh, I
8,
74.
you got it?
yeah.
And
That's because we reallocated stuff around, or?
So what Carolyn and I sat down with Gay and went over our
Just
contract
kind
costs.
of went,
Yeah.
really looked through our contract this used to be kind of a catch-all for stuff, and
Yeah.
we have moved other things and other line items, so this one didn't seem,
It
and
used to have the
history.
YMCA in it.
Yeah, we
and
used
now
to have
they're
the YMCA,
distributed.
that got moved out to each individual department, and some other ones we've moved, now we have them under software. So, history-wise, we weren't spending that full 100, so we are the 125, so
And
we just
page-
went, we
yeah.
went back to 100.
page 16 is minus 3. The
So
amount
page
doesn't,
16 is landfill,
Yeah,
and we
okay.
did not reduce. What we did was we broke out trash to trash, recycling, and yard waste to be a little more transparent so you could see what each one costs. So what we did was, what was currently contract services, we now have a recycling services, a trash service, a yard waste. So the 389 there was then redistributed to the same department, the 3 lines
All
under
right, yeah, I
it.
remember that from last time.
that's, here's my question. When we first came on board, November or December, when we get our monthly statements of what bills we're paying, Harris, Jones, and Malone, a consulting company, were paying $66,000 some odd dollars. My question is, who are they, what are they doing?
That's our lobbyist,
Well, what are they doing? I mean, what are they lobbying for? Are they,
funding for the
everything?
wastewater treatment plant primarily, but also keeping us informed of anything that affects municipalities.
My question is, it's 6,000 plus per month we're paying?
5 and change a month.
Yes, yes.
That's $80,000 a year.
I think it's is it 85 or is it, I thought it was, sorry, I have to look at what the total
Oh, it's
cost is. I don't
If we
remember.
want to go back out for bid this year, it's been a few years, it might not be the craziest thing, but they are one of the top firms in Annapolis.
Well, I have no problem with that. Matter of fact, I called the old superintendent of schools. This particular lobbying group has a wonderful reputation in one particular area, getting money for African-American activities, okay? Fantastic. But we're spending it's a question, $80,000 a year. What tangible results do we have?
$16 million,
We have 16 million?
yes.
We have it in the pocket. Okay, then that's the answer to the question. Okay, so 80,000 certainly worth 16 million, okay. So are we seeing that every year?
No, so we got our one-time 16 million, and then they're continuing to help advocate for additional funding. This is probably the worst budget year the state's ever
It's
had.
tough.
We've had- I mean, she's getting us, we're having meetings with our legislators and the people in the departments that we need to have meetings with. It's just, it's the legislative budget that's
Okay.
the issue.
It's a
You know,
tough
They
year.
don't really have
Yeah.
that much control.
So if we're spending 80,000 to get 16 million, that's not a bad deal, if that's what reality is, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And I think, when I was a lobbyist, I represented a lot of municipalities, and I think it's something municipalities should have. I mean, so much can happen to you in Annapolis also if you're not paying attention.
Does she provide any kind of forecast on what kind of grants or funding she's working on?
When she comes across funding, yes, or any grants, then she will send them to us. Or she's also helped us with, when we have submitted, again, part of the funding that we've gotten in the past, she has also helped reach out to the people who need to be reached out to talk to them about just getting Centreville in front of them in order to help move the
She
process
doesn't do
through.
the grant writing?
No, she doesn't do, we have our own grant writers.
She'll just point us to where there's a grant
Right,
opportunity?
yes. Yeah, if she comes across things, she'll send them to us, but no, they don't write our grants for us.
Yeah. But they help you gain access. It's more of an access to,
Yeah, lobbyists
You
open
need
the door
access
for you. You gotta walk through it.
so.
80,000 for 16 million is not bad, is it? Take that.
And like I said, the council can always consider, I manage 10 different lobbying firms around the country for my day job. I try to put them out for bid every 5 years at a minimum, just, it's good practice. Doesn't mean you don't keep who you have, but
Is it possible we could get because we're new to the board, could we get a list of who our lobbyist is, what we're paying them, and what they're doing? I haven't seen that, and it's not really in the budget.
you send it to the whole council or reports? Does that come to the whole council?
Sundays,
I mean, all the
yeah,
consultants
when
we
I,
have, right across the board.
all the consultants.
Just so, especially for the rookies.
You want a list of all the consultants and then what they're for?
Harris, Jones, and Malone, we pay them X numbers of dollars, and they do the following. I mean, it'd just be helpful.
Okay, for all our
All
contractors.
departments?
I think it's helpful to me, I don't know about everybody
Yeah,
else.
just I think a one-sheeter on that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've asked the question too when I've,
Yeah.
the question, so, and the fact that we're still relatively, early in our process.
Yeah, it's your first budget season.
Yes.
Ask all the questions.
And I can't tell you how much fun it's been.
It's a blast. It could be way worse.
This is the.
I could be a lot less funny. And then, who knows?
This is easy. Fred, the Board of Ed budget is 108 million.
And they
1,000
let you out.
That's why I screwed up, okay? That's 1,000 employees, that's
Yeah, no.
7,000 students. This is easy. And this staff has done a super job preparing that. Because you deal with 108 million. But
No, I do like the idea of a list of the contract services. I mean, I feel like I've gotten a pretty good handle on it over the years, but
For the
if it-
rookies, it's tough.
yeah, why not?
When someone comes and says, Fred, what does Harris, Jones, and Malone do for you for $80,000? And you go, I'm not sure, but it's nice to be able to say, bing, I got $16 million. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay, I'd appreciate that. I don't know what the other.
I would too.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Okay,
I had one question. So page 22, the old draft. I don't recall if I asked this question, but it was farm revenue other than sale of crops went from 59,000 to 40, so there was a reduction of 19. I don't know if we talked about that last time.
Yeah, that's the reduction in acreage we'll have for expanding the lagoon for the
So
wastewater
it's taken
treatment plant.
away. Okay,
So
all
what
right.
we can bring in will Correct, am I correct? Okay.
Okay, so the lagoon's taking that.
Yeah, it's
away.
taking some of the
Okay.
acres away.
Kip was so excited to come up again, and then you took it from him.
I'm so
Karen.
sorry.
I knew there was a reason, I just wanted to know why.
You
Okay,
look
thank
desperate to come chat with us.
And it's just an estimate, like, we're not exactly sure how many so that
Yeah.
could change, but
Yeah.
he did
The
say
per acre
definite
price is
reduction.
so low anyway. Okay.
Gotcha.
Can I get one more?
Yeah. As
Karen,
many
help
as you
me out.
need for the next 20 minutes.
And you heard a little bit about this Tuesday, we didn't get to finish the story. I had one of our staff, we think, asked me, hey, do we have in the budget a place where I can go for wastewater treatment? I can take a course. Chesapeake College offers CEUs and wastewater treatment. Do we have a place in the budget where
do.
one of the chief's police officers can get it? So where is that in?
There's a safety aid training and education line in every department.
We've increased it over the years.
We have. And then there's also a lodging and travel and a conference line. So those three are all used in conjunction when we send people to conferences, to trainings. Kip's guys can come to him if they want to take any classes. Same with Chief, I'm pretty sure, Carolyn is
all the
very,
departments.
So the money's available?
Absolutely.
If someone wants to take a course, they can take it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I go to Carolyn all the time and I'm like, hey, this conference or, for finance stuff.
And the
So, yeah.
correct procedures, they tell the supervisor, or request to the supervisor, and then, okay,
Yep.
thank you.
I did just want to point out, we had our final meeting with the Stantec today for their utility rate study. So we are hoping to have them present to you the second meeting in April. And that'll kind of go over what they think the rates should be based on the new plant and the cost of getting that plant on board, the new cost to run a plant when it's here, and all those things. So we're hoping to have the second one in April so that, if we do need to make any changes to the rates, could possibly get it done before 1 July.
And will that, at that time, as far as comparative to other municipalities, other towns, will there be some kind of, again, to know how we compare to others?
Yep.
'Cause
He
I
actually
think that's
showed
always
us
important,
today.
as far as benchmarking.
Now, I will tell you, the comparative nature he used were some of the bigger places, so of course, we're not it's hard to find somebody similar with the number of residents like we have. So it shows we're above people like Anne Arundel and Annapolis.
Because they have more users,
And
yeah,
that's the-
to spread the cost.
But he was
We're
gonna
below
try
originally.
Yeah. So yes, but there is,
Smaller-
he has done,
smaller towns
yep,
still.
yep.
Like,
He has put some thought into it, and he actually had a spreadsheet today, right, that we looked at. And it showed a couple different, Queen Anne's County, Anne Arundel, Annapolis.
Those were the allocation fees.
Okay. Oh,
But
oh.
he does have them for user fees too.
just comparative with other similar populations to know, are we in it, are we high, are we low? I mean, again, I don't know.
Yeah. Nope, he definitely will have that as part of his presentation, so.
Okay. Capital, are we good on operating? Yes, no? No.
I did blue tab the capital is like your third blue tab in the updated,
All right, on the first page, we already struck the parking study.
yep.
Next page is blank.
Yeah, so there was no enterprise, no enterprise requests this year. And the third page is just the list of grants or earmark opportunities we're looking at.
Well, I mean, there is the $36 million capital ask for enterprise fund, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And once I win the lottery,
Yeah.
try it, guys.
Yeah, so any specific capital questions you have or any information you'd like from any department heads on capital?
Did you refresh the 5-year capital?
I did, and I
schedule?
did.
Is it in here?
No.
Oh, that's okay. 'Cause
It's sitting on my desk.
When you and I talked, there was just some small stuff that
Yeah.
needed to come out, that's all.
After I put all these together, I was like, and then I walked out and I said, oh crap, there's
It's
so.
not gonna change anything, it was more just
Yeah.
so it's, it's
And
not-
it'll just update the line, removing the police computers that we adjusted from last time. So when we come back next week, I'll reprint you the 5-year to match that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, well, we have 2 weeks until our next budget session.
Yeah.
That should give folks plenty of time. Gay, I will set up some time with you to talk Main Street. I'll set up some time with you, Carolyn. I'm home for 25 straight days.
Wow.
I know. It's really exciting.
Do I get time on your calendar?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
we can
jealous.
chat anytime, Karen. But so just staff is available to you all the time, but during budget season, they would love to answer your questions and have conversations. You know, the full team invests a lot of time in giving us a good draft to work from, and I'm very grateful for how smooth the process feels and how able our department heads are to discuss and justify and talk through every line of their budget. So even when we don't always agree, I just appreciate the process.
And actually, I think it's important that one rookie anyway, with Karen and I bug Gay and every who I bug, we appreciate the time walking us through, because we know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't anyway. Fred's smarter than I am, but I don't. So we appreciate that.
Staff would certainly rather spend all the time to answer your questions than have us make an uninformed decision.
Yeah.
So just really cannot thank all of you, all the staff that's here enough for all the work you've put into this, so appreciate it. All right, Citizens Forum.
If you want,
Okay.
come to my office.
We're going to need a motion to adjourn, and then we'll have a little break before our meeting.
I motion.
Okay,
Yep.
we're adjourned.
Yeah.
We'll now call this March 19th meeting of the Centreville Town Council to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next up, we have agenda review. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
None.
Okay. Can we have the review of the minutes from past meetings? You have in your packet the March 5th meeting minutes. Are there any additions or changes to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Got it?
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We will now go into our first citizens forum. Citizens are requested to keep their comments to 3 minutes or less. Are there any citizens that wish to address the council? Is this when you wanted to have Sandy come
Miss
up?
Sandy, please.
Come on up.
Sandy, you're up.
Well, welcome the first day of spring tomorrow, everybody. Yeah, and in honor of, well, I'm going to talk about Arbor Day, National Arbor Day, which this year is Friday, April 24th. On the first Arbor Day, on April 10th, 1872, J. Sterling Morton convinced fellow Nebraskans to plant more than 1 million trees on that one day. So that was the first Arbor Day. I want us to really appreciate trees. We celebrate trees for giving us so many things. Beauty, the shapes of them, the color of the leaves, the flowers, food, fruits, nuts, maple syrup, cocoa beans, wood products, lumber and paper, shade and shelter from sun and wind, breathable air. We get oxygen from that, and the trees take in carbon dioxide and give us oxygen. They're a habitat for birds and animals, and they're cover for soil, preventing erosion. For my first 12 years with National Arbor Day, I had the pleasure of leading 2 second-grade classes from CES to plant Arbor Day trees along the Millstream Trail. What a joy to see them learn about trees and then get their hands dirty helping to plant the trees. They love that. This year, Arbor Day will be the best end of the open lawn will be on 24th. It won't be along the trail. It'll be on the west end of the open lawn adjacent to Heffelbein. And we're also honored to be a Tree City USA, which provides a framework for communities to maximize and increase their public trees. So I want you not just to, I want you to really look at trees and say, thank you, trees.
Thank you.
You, Sandy.
You.
And just to piggyback off that, we did receive our Tree City USA for 2025 materials the other day, so we can update our sign, and
Awesome.
we are good to go for another year.
And the our next meeting, we'll have the Arbor Day proclamation, which is a requirement for Tree City USA, so we'll have that for the council.
Are there any other citizens that wish to address the council? Mary Margaret, did you? No? Okay. Awesome.
See her back there.
All right. Yeah.
You're gonna see her.
All right. Next up, we have appearances. Julian Warren, if you want to come up. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm Julie Killey. I'm the Opioid Education and Prevention Coordinator for Queen Anne's County. We're here to request permission to provide a permanent prevention message by way of murals. on the existing town billboard on Railroad and Kidwell. Is everyone familiar with that site? I have a picture also, if you're not.
Yeah.
This is what it currently looks like. It's just a brown wooden
Yeah.
boards. Okay, so, we've put our, more grant in for FY '27, and in that grant, I requested funding to support this project if it is approved through the town. What we'd like to do is provide, an artist and to work with students to put up a mural on both sides with a prevention message, supporting QAC Goes Purple. So that's what we're here to propose this evening.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. Staff okay with it?
I'm okay with it. I mean,
So I love the idea. I'm totally supportive. So as far as just what will be put on the sign, as far as just the graphics, again, I don't know what the grant process is and how that looks, but would there be an opportunity for you to say, listen, this is what we've chosen, this is what we're going to do on the sign, just to kind of, just to know before it goes
Absolutely.
up? That's all.
Absolutely. What we were going to do was have the ambassadors, the Queen Anne's County Drug-Free Student Ambassadors, work with me to come up with a couple of different slogans. We were going to present that to our designer. We do have an artist, actually it's an art teacher from Kent Island High School that is interested in doing the artwork for us. She has experience doing murals. So we put funding in there to support her efforts. Obviously not enough to pay for her skills, but something, a stipend to help with her work. And then also all of the fees for all of the supplies that she will need.
Yeah.
And that also includes a clear coating over the top to protect any artwork that's put up there. And we understand that at any time, if the board is rented, that someone may put another banner up over the top while they're renting that space. And we're perfectly fine with that.
So would the artist be the one that actually executes that, or will she
She'll
be
work-
working with students?
She will work with students,
So the
yes.
students will actively be also painting?
Right, they will help her in whatever fashion that she would like. And if there are drug-free student ambassadors that want to help, we've discussed that as well. I'd like them to be a part of it. Even if they aren't artists, they can hold the ladder, they can
Right,
do
just to
whatever it is
help,
that she needs support with.
Yeah, I think it's great. I love the engagement. I think that matters a lot. Getting, the students involved and just in the whole process. I just think it's lovely. And again, I was just curious, like, what you end up doing. Would love to see it. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. We can bring it back to the town and make sure that you guys are all happy with what designs are come up with.
Cool.
Julie is an old health educator. We know the more information you give young people and adults about the dangers of drugs. I know, Julie, do you know, I put up with Warren twice this week. He addressed the veterans group. Warren
I think that
deserves-
means Warren put up with you twice.
No. Warren, Julie, I gotta brag on, we've taught together for 30 years. He's done an outstanding, as you both have.
Thank you guys very much, but I did want to, since I don't have to do anything, thank you. I did want to thank you for the 9 years we've been doing QA Goes Purple, and we've been sticking signs all over the place. The one we did last year, this is one of 120, that got the most feedback. But I also wanted to talk about this one. There's 6 of these.
Yes.
And we have 2 right over here. And I wanted to tell you that we've changed them about 500 times. They've been there 8.5 years. And the deaths have gone from 16 a year, this is part of the thank you, down to 2. So hopefully next year, if we get 1 or less than 1 death, then maybe we'll take all 6 of those babies down. But thank you for letting us put them up.
Thank you, Warren.
No, I think the work that you guys in the county are doing in this space is incredible.
That's really important.
Yeah. All right, so we need formal,
I would, if you want to, or consensus.
yeah, can someone make a motion to approve what's requested in the letter?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you.
The students are a lot more creative than any of the adults.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thank you
I'm
very
all
much.
about more art and more prevention, so
Yeah,
it works for me.
Yep.
Okay. Next up, Karen Campbell with the PayPoint HR Compensation and Classification Study. Are you coming up too, Crystal, or?
Front and center, go ahead, front and center.
If you have problems with it, yes, or I can do it for you. You can just tell me when to change it. Okay.
it's like, I want to fish.
I want a job.
You have a job.
I'm just sitting here.
We'll expand that job description.
So thank you. My name again is Karen Campbell. I'm with Paypoint HR, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. And I'd like to thank the project team that we worked with, including my good friend here and HR manager, the town manager, as well as the finance director. We did have an opportunity to sit down and speak with department heads and met with employees as well to do briefing sessions with them to discuss the scope of the work, their role, the role of supervisors, and how to complete something I'll speak to in a second in our industry that's called a job analysis questionnaire. So the study is designed to provide the town council with clear, objective information to support informed decision-making. So balancing the responsibility between being good stewards of taxpayer resources as well as being responsible employers to help make sure that the town of Centreville is able to attract and retain qualified individuals that provide the essential services needed by your residents. So with that, we'll talk to key findings and recommendations. So I'll begin with a brief overview of our approach, then walk through comparator selection and internal structure. From there, I'll cover the external market results, and followed by recommendations, and close with a summary conclusion. The project approach. The study uses integrated approach that looks at three equally important perspectives. Rather than relying on a single data point, we evaluate positions through three independent lenses to make sure that we're giving results that are balanced, objective, and tailored to the town of Centreville. So each metric answers a different question about how positions should be valued. The first metric is looking at internal equity, which focuses on how jobs relate to one another within the organization, especially in smaller organizations. Employees tend to wear multiple hats. And this is based on job analysis and evaluates the factors such as responsibility, complexity, and impact to establish consistent internal hierarchy. Those are all considered factors that the Department of Labor accept as reasons to pay one position differently than another. There are 9 major factors involved in that. So the second metric that we looked at is organizational structure. This reflects how the town is designed to operate, how roles are layered, and how different functions are valued by the town of Centreville, because not every organization values each department and function equally. We also apply a structured methodology to customize Centreville's response and outcomes to ensure that the framework reflects the town's priorities rather than a one-size-fits-all type of model. The third metric is external competitiveness, which compares the town's positions to the broader labor market. And together, these perspectives create a balanced and defensible framework for decision-making. What makes this approach strong is that it does not rely on a single data point. Each metric stands on its own, and together they provide a balanced view, ensuring no one factor drives the outcomes. So looking at the comparator framework, one of the key metrics is how the town competes with the external market. So in order to look at the external market, we identified a group of organizations that reflect where Centreville competes for talent. And we looked at the principal comparators. Initially, we had the survey sent to, I believe, about 32 organizations. We received responses for 15 of those organizations, which is a very high response rate, and we feel confident in the data that it has provided. But we have these organizations selected based on the size of the organization, the services and scope of what they offer, as well as labor market alignment. So those are kind of the components we use to use that. We collaborated with the project team here at the town of Centreville to come up with that list. So it wasn't just us looking at socioeconomic factors, it is also looking at who are you really competing against. And the goal is to ensure we are making apples-to-apples comparisons to the best of our abilities, so results are relevant and reliable. So, looking at internal equity and structure, in addition to the external market, we also looked at how positions are structured internally and how responsibilities are delegated on each job's shoulders, basically. So this ensures roles are aligned appropriately based on responsibility, complexity, and impact, or those compensable factors that I mentioned earlier. And we look at internal classification and conducted job analysis using employee questionnaires reviewed by management. So the employees are considered the subject matter experts here, and we ask them to help us understand their position so that we can look at the external market, looking at what is fair pay for that exact type of work. So each position was evaluated using consistent factors to establish a fair and objective hierarchy. So looking at the organizational structure here at Centreville, you're a very flat organization. That means decisions can be made fairly quickly. Your employees are also very generalized. So in larger organizations, you see positions that are more specialized, and it creates a challenge a bit when we're looking at how to define the role and finding comparators that are completing similar type of work. So that is something a bit unique to the town of Centreville based on your size. So larger organizations are a little bit more specialized, and job titles don't always tell us the full picture. So there are opportunities within Centreville to improve the clarity around career progression, but as far as we are concerned, we did not see any major structural issues. So the external market, we then looked at and compared Centreville, and this is where kind of our key takeaway comes from the study. So on average, let me make sure, yeah. On average, Centreville salaries are approximately 10% below the market median. Am I behind? Okay, sorry.
Oh, no, no.
I think you're ahead.
I think you're
You went ahead too
I think you need to go back. Go back is what I, yeah.
One-
Right there.
yeah,
Okay,
there
that's
we
it.
go.
Thank you. All right, so I should have let you do it. There you go. So on average, you're approximately 10% below the median of the market. So from a practical term, that means that while some positions are competitive here at Centreville, overall, the trend is Centreville is below market. So there's also variations by position, with some roles further behind the market than others. And areas of improvement are specifically with administrative, public safety, and some leadership positions. Over time, this can create challenges with recruitment, retention, and succession planning. And these areas are where we are focused in our recommendations. It was also requested of the project team that we consider total rewards and look at benefits and compare that to the external market as well. So in addition to base salary, we looked at the overall benefits and total rewards package. And Centreville's benefits are cost efficient and supportive of employees was our finding. And while total costs are slightly below market at 34% of total cost or total dollars spent to employees, the town provides a strong value through its pension and employer-paid benefits, as well as medical plan structure. So the 34% at Centreville as compared to the external market at about 38%, it tells us that the benefits are very well managed, and we looked at the quality of the benefits and that they were still very strong. So those are both good components. So these elements contribute positively to the town's overall total rewards position. And areas for possible improvement with regards to benefits is looking at your single premium coverage contributions and evaluating an out-of-network option. So overall, the benefits program is a strength and a reason to help the town recruit. And the primary focus, because of this, is really on the compensation component. So recommendations for compensation are looking at Tier 1 priority, which focuses on moving below market roles towards the 40th percentile in year 1 and addressing progression inconsistencies. Oops, sorry. Priority Tier 2 builds on that by moving towards the 50th percentile in year 2 and considering targeted benefit enhancements like I mentioned earlier. So priority 3 focuses on ongoing administration, including regular market reviews and a consistent approach to future adjustments. And we feel that this phased approach allows the town to move toward greater competitiveness in a measured and manageable way. So as part of the deliverables PayPoint HR is providing to you, we have given a format for updated job descriptions and the content for that. And as well, we will be delivering to the town a tool the town can use in the event that either you have a new position come on board or a position substantially changes, how to place that into the pay scale and maintain your current integrity. So it's placing positions objectively within the pay scale. So in conclusion, the study does provide a clear objective framework to support your decision making, and the recommendations provide a path toward greater competitiveness while allowing flexibility in how and when changes can be implemented. So the path forward is really a policy decision, and it helps you to balance the fiscal priorities with the need to attract and retain the workforce that supports the town's services. And pretty much that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer questions.
When you were doing the comparative analysis, and I appreciate the presentation and the work you've done on this, really impressive. Yeah, I'm looking at the different cities that were involved in the comparison, and when you come up with how we compare either from a benefit standpoint or from a salary standpoint, how did you, was that kind of a total comparison as an average of all these different municipalities you're compared to, or is it more specific to communities our size and in our region where cost of living may be different than here than in Arundel County or Newark, Delaware?
Sure. So good question. And I kind of feel like it was a little bit kind of a twofold question. When PayPoint HR began the project with the project team, we came to the table with a list of organizations we deemed as similar to Centreville based on things like median household income, their population size, labor force contribution size, their unemployment rate, items and factors along those lines. And mathematically, we compared that to where Centreville is. And we prefer to kind of cast a wider net because we want to have as many comparators as possible. We feel that additional data just makes the outcomes more valid. And we have tools in place that help us to protect from outliers. And we also worked with the project team to say, you know, here's the list PayPoint HR brought to the table. We are from Maryland. We do know the local labor market, but tell us more about Centreville and who really are you competing with? And, you know, based on your job titles, maybe, you know, we need to look at other organizations who have similar type of utilities that maybe we wouldn't have flagged because populations were different. So that is kind of the discussions that we had and how we came up with that list. Now, in analyzing the outcome and, you know, using the data that they provided to us, the way that we make sure that we don't have outliers is by using the percentiles that we gave in the report. So we, for every single job title, list where the current position is being paid from the minimum to the midpoint and maximum. And using the midpoint, we compared that to the market 50th percentile. 50th percentile means that if there were 10 respondents, 5 would pay higher and 5 would pay lower. So it's not looking at averages because averages can skew the data. They're more responsive to outliers. So using those percentiles, it kind of helps narrow it down. Also too, that allows you as the council to dial in where it makes sense from a budgetary standpoint to position the town in the local labor market. So what we were saying is your 10% below the 50th percentile, and not for all positions, but the positions kind of in that administrative, public safety, and leadership positions. And to be financially responsible, our recommendation is to come in making sure that you get those positions really kind of far out of alignment to at least that 40th percentile of the market. That means that you have 6 communities, in essence, if there were 10, paying more and 4 paying less. So you're not like being really aggressive on it. And then get you to that 50th percentile of the market. In the studies that we do, 50th percentile of the market is really kind of what most public organizations try to go towards, depending on how the economy is doing oftentimes. And we are seeing that organizations are, in public sector in particular, are still increasing wages. They are starting to calm down a little bit post-COVID. So that's kind of the good news. I went deep on that one, but
It's a really complex process when you're trying to do the comparative, particularly like in our environment where we have a lot of multitaskers, so and made comment to that a lot of our employees are doing a lot more than what a typical job description may identify. I was also wondering though, if you take into account people that may live here but are commuting to Annapolis and their cost of commuting and that kind of thing, where that may have some financial relative impact on that comparison based on the potential value of a lifestyle of working where you live versus having to commute across the bridge and that kind of thing. So it's another factor or something, I guess, to look at that way. Not to make it even more complex, but.
I liken it to a hurricane model. There's so many possible variations and permutations, it's almost endless. But to the best of our ability, we work to guide you based on the data towards a decision that makes financial sense and will help you have qualified employees.
Right.
So my takeaway, excellent report, by the way. My takeaway is our benefits are quite good. Pleased with that. We need to work a little bit on what you call compensation salaries. And my experience in the Board of Ed, we were way below. But once the local Board of Ed came up in the middle, all of a sudden we got a lot more applications, a lot more qualified people, because people knew you got great benefits and great salaries. Yeah.
When was the last time that we did a survey?
So,
Study, I should say.
6 or 7 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, and it was conducted by me.
Yeah, it was just Crystal who did it.
So that I think I worked from
great.
I think I worked from home for several weeks.
Yes.
So
Since I've been here, we've never done
an official
third party.
Just called your study unprofessional.
a professional.
No, she said this is the first professional one we had. I would take that pretty personally. But no, I think this is great information. We dove into this a little bit previously. I think it's really helpful. And also I think where our benefits came in, it's a testament to how much you advocate for the staff and your work in HR. So thank you, Crystal.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely.
With your recommendation, I'm sorry to keep asking all these questions, but with your recommendation on how to remedy that over 1 year, then the second year, I don't know if you also have looked at our budget where we are looking at increases some of those salaries, how we're measuring up with that 1 and 2 year progression to kind of correct
So the budget implements this, right?
Correct. So the budget actually implements almost all of their, well, for the most part, most of their recommendations as far as the compensation aspect. Okay. So in the budget, it includes the new salary scale, and then the 40th percentile. But as I was, discussing with, Karen and Carolyn, that, the, hopefully with the STEP and the COLA, we may actually get to that, 50th percentile market,
By the end of the.
by the
Next
by
fiscal
the end
year.
of next fiscal year.
So Karen can come back and give us a much higher grade, an A+.
At least not for 3 to 5 years. Technically, that's around the time you do any more reviews.
I think you're saying in 2 years you'll have gotten to the 50,
We'll be
so
done.
then you
Then
get the
we'll
A plus.
already, yes, oh, okay.
We'll be in
yes.
great shape. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Karen?
I'll shut up.
No, it's
Or
okay
me,
to ask.
since I'm
Just
up here.
ask away.
And so what's the recommendation, 3 to 5 years? You should do this every 3 to 5, did I hear that?
Yeah.
Our intent is for it to last you a long time. That's why we're giving you that tool to be able to objectively place positions. But the industry standard is for every 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
But you shouldn't have to do it, but the economy always is unpredictable, so you just kind of
Is it ever?
So the general rule is 3 to 5 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
thorough, Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Crystal, don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I saw my name on the list.
All right, so next up is, under new business, the revised salary scale recommendation from Crystal. So you have a memo, which we talked about this during budget work session last week. It's essentially this is fully implemented in the new budget, but this is to start at April 1st rather than waiting until July 1st.
Correct. So after speaking with Karen, our finance officer, we do have some fun. We have enough funds in the current FY26 budget to.
Here she comes.
Oh yes.
I didn't even know you were still here.
You couldn't see me behind that.
to be able to encompass the new salary scale structure, which would help to give that boost.
Yeah.
And not have a higher impact on the FY27.
So there's a memo in your packet with a proposed motion to put this into effect on April 1st.
And we would cover the current year cost with the other portion of the general fund and enterprise fund interest above the anticipated revenue, or expectation, yeah, revenue, sorry. Been a long day.
Got the money, let's do it.
And the crystals packet that I had provided you earlier has whatever those salaries would be if this were approved for April 1st.
So the current budget is inclusive of her recommendations as well as if you approve the 40th, or the,
40th percentile.
yeah, no, if you approve this.
Or excuse
we
me,
approve
the
this, and
salaries.
then, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Right.
So,
Okay. So this is the cost that would take us from April 1st to July 1st.
correct,
And then the new budget, it's already baked in what's proposed.
yes.
I think it's really important to stay competitive. I've always been, of that. And I kind of like the sort of the generalist aspect, because I think that's important versus specialist, because I think it helps a person to grow, and they're not just kind of pigeonholed, and you have more flexibility in your duties and learning. And so I think that's actually a good thing, in my perspective. So I think it's really important to stay on top of this to make certain we are remaining competitive, because that's, if you take your eye off of this, that's when things kind of go downhill pretty quickly if you're not paying attention to this. So staff are your number one, I won't call it an asset because I think that's very inhuman, but I think it's a very important, relating to, and it's.
Nothing we do could happen without our
Right,
team.
So it's very important to stay competitive and across the board. And then there's goals here for the following year as far as other things that you've got a roadmap as far as to focus on too, on benefits and things of that. So I'm very supportive of it.
You like a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll read this. I make a motion to approve the implementation of the revised salary scale recommended pay point HR retaining 25 steps with a 60% range spread effective April 1, 2026.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Good job, good job.
Okay. Kip.
Okay. We spoke about this a little bit off and on, coming to you tonight to formally get approval to move forward with phase 3 of the the Wharf Park, which includes the band shell, updating the parking lot, expanding it, and there's several other things involved with it, another pathway, lights, electric, water, those kind of things. We advertised for bids, and I have the bids attached to the back of the memo there. You can see I was very satisfied with all the bids that were submitted. It was a good turnout for what we were looking for. With that being said, the staff is recommending that we make awards to Middleton's Construction for the civil portion of it, Chuck's Electric for the electric portion of it, and the band shell itself to Green Sites. Let me start with the band shell. I gave everybody this before the meeting started, that front, the cover that you see there is what the band shell is going to look like from Greenscapes. It matches the picnic pavilions that we have down there now. This is what we had envisioned when we were going out to bids with this thing. The second page there shows you what two other bidders had bid on. They didn't actually qualify for what we were asking for, other than it is a band shell and a stage. So,
It is something.
yep. So, of course, there's a difference in the price of it, so,
I mean, this one is beautiful.
yeah. So,
Okay.
with that being said, now, I'm also gonna tell you, this work is being paid for by a grant. Back in 2023 and 2024, we made the application, so we got approval and the grant was awarded to us. The grant itself was $280,000, $722. When you get looking at the prices that were bid, we're at a deficit of $179,827. Most of that's due to the inflation and rates, all that kind of stuff, and from the time that we had put in for the grant to now. What I'm proposing tonight is we've been able to work with the contractors that we have chosen, and we can do a portion of this work this year. We can go back for another grant application in September, I think it's due, and hopefully get it awarded before the end of the summer next year to finish the remainder part.
So what are we leaving out?
We're leaving out the paving of the parking lot. It's only a prep of the paving. We're leaving out the pathway around there and the electric that would go to those lights and stuff. But we are going to install the band shell.
There could potentially be a usable band shell.
Oh, absolutely, with the
Okay.
electric and everything.
Awesome.
Included in it, so.
How is the walkway gonna change?
There's, actually in that middle area where the, swing set is currently, and it goes around between the swing set and the playground, back around, like to where the, Liberty elm trees planted that there and that backside behind the band shell and come back out around by the parking lot. So, it'll all be lit with bollard lights. There's lights for the parking lot. There's lights and stuff for the, band shell itself. So, we're actually even putting in a drop for a pedestal for electric and water. If there's ever an event that goes on that you have food trucks or something to that
hook
effect.
up.
Also, the people walk their dogs all the time. If they can get some water there for the dogs and that kind of
That's
stuff.
great.
So, you've come a very long way with that park for what it used to be.
Oh, I love that park, and it just gets better all the time.
We've been just blessed with all the grants that we've gotten for, so.
And just the town staff has done such a good job making what we spend those grants on make a lot of sense to have just a really, really quality park.
With, just a couple questions. With the current trail, like, would there be any, is it all new trail that'll be added next year, or is it a refresh of anything that's currently there?
No, it's new and works in conjunction with
what's currently
what's
there.
already there.
Yeah, because I didn't know if the path, there was any maintenance that was needed on that path, you know, near the, on the edge there, near the water.
Yeah, yep.
I felt like there was a little bit of repair that was needed. So I didn't know if this grant was gonna touch any of that, or that's just normal maintenance associated.
No, that's something that we'll include in next year.
Okay.
To get it. We had to cut something. We looked at this as we wanted to get this band shell
Right.
up and built. That's kind of the focal point of the park and everything.
And the band shell was, I had talked to Kip, should be the first thing to go so that your heavy equipment's not run over a brand new paved parking lot and
So,
Makes sense.
that's, yeah.
Right.
Things I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah,
Yep.
and, so what's the life of this approximately, with the type of wood that you're using here? It's like, is it gonna last us like 15 years, any?
no, it's much longer than that with the
Okay.
type of wood they use. Of course, there's maintenance with it,
Right.
sealing
Right.
and everything, but
Right.
it's not like an every year maintenance thing with it. This band shell, you get 20 to 30 years or longer
Just good to know.
out of it, as long as we take care of it.
Right,
So,
right,
Awesome.
terrific. And what would be the time of construction if we said, yes, go, do it?
if you say, if you approve this tonight, we call the contractors, tell them to go for it, and give them notice to proceed. We get it staked out, and then it's just a matter of scheduling on their part to get here. I mean, the plan is to have this much of it done and everything before the end of summer.
Awesome.
Okay, before the end of summer.
All right.
This was part of the major discussion of the last Parks Advisory Board, 100% for this plan, and your board says go. Okay.
All right. Well, do we have a motion? There's a proposed motion on the memo.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I make a motion to approve the negotiated bids to Middleton's Construction, Chuck's Electric, and the Green Sites LLC, and purchase lights for a sum not to exceed a combined total of $280,722 for this portion of the Wharf Park Phase 3 project.
Is there a second? All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Kip.
Thank you for your work on this.
All right, Chief. We have talked a lot about this, and the moment has arrived.
Make it official. Good evening, everyone. The council should have a correspondence from the Centreville Police Department in their packet dated March 13, 2026, from myself in reference to GTAC mobile data terminals for the police department. In this request, we are respectfully requesting authorization to purchase the following equipment. It is the GTAC V120 mobile data terminals in a quantity of 15, which comes out to a total sum of $59,424.75. With that, we were going to need the docking stations which hold those terminals in the quantity of 13, with a total sum of $9,504.95. To include all the taxes, installation of the associated equipment, all in total is $74,565.49. The Centreville Police Department is seeking a total project authorization in the amount of $75,000 even, which would allow for the purchasing of the aforementioned equipment, installation, additional accessories, and anything that might be required for the completion of said project. The vendors.
Gives you a yes, you stop talking.
Oh,
So,
done.
I think they're ready for
Done.
we're ready. We're ready to get to the bottom of this memo. We've talked a lot about these radios. You told us you were suffering without them. And so we're trying to end the suffering here, and instead we're.
Please.
My turn for the motion.
Yeah, go
Okay, here
for
we go. I make a motion for the Centreville Police Department to purchase a new mobile data terminals and associated equipment not to exceed $75,000, utilizing current year interest earned from the general fund.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any
Thank you very
opposed?
much.
Thank you. All right, no one wanted to get the suffering to persist, I guess.
Just
Thank you, Chief. All right, reports of boards and commissions. MML, I think those of you that are attending, Gay has worked with you to get you registered for the conference. Should be very good. That's all I've got. Council of Governments, next meeting is May 13th.
Yes. Not
Okay.
Yes, May.
Economic Development,
Been busy recruiting. We need a total of 7 people in the different categories that we've talked about before. And I believe I have arrived at that. I've got 2 or 3 more meetings personally to meet in person with everyone. Everyone else has kind of gone through the process. I do want to firm up because one of them, we're talking about bringing them in on April 2nd. One of them is in Colorado on a ski trip with his family for spring break and could not attend on April 2nd, but we could maybe,
that's allowed.
I'm sorry?
That's allowed. People can go on vacation.
Exactly. So are we still looking at April 2nd?
Yeah, we don't have to do everyone that night, right? So,
Okay. What will be the acceptance process, or will we
so
be
typically we would
voting?
interview them all in a closed session,
Right,
which is difficult on April 2nd because we also have a budget session.
right.
So we had talked about maybe needing to not do it that night, but we could, budget seems to be going relatively smoothly, so we could probably do it from, 6:15 to 6:45. They're very quick interviews. And then at the following meeting, we would vote to seat whomever the council selects after those
Following
interviews.
meeting, okay.
Yeah,
So if one person could not be here,
we could interview them the 16th.
okay.
We could interview them via phone. I know you've done preliminary meetings. We could trust your judgment. There's all sorts of options available.
I can provide their applications to everybody ahead of time.
Yeah,
And I have a lot of support documentation for most of these candidates also. So I can provide that to everyone before.
yeah,
the second.
and the interviews are something we've always done, but we've never had this interim step, which I really appreciate you doing, of this initial vetting. So there's nothing in the charter that says we must closed session interview them. It's entirely possible that we could say, you've done that legwork, and you come to us with a slate of people, and we let you know if that's acceptable or not, and if we wanna bring 1 or 2 of them in because we have additional questions, we could, or if we wanna see who you rejected in your process, we could. So, why don't you and I talk about the universe you've landed on, and then we can figure out what the best course is, because I trust your judgment, so if you've already interviewed them all, I don't know that we need to I don't know that we need to force everyone to come in,
Okay.
but we can figure that out.
I hope to have all my in-person interviews completed by this time next week. So
Awesome.
after that, I can then assemble all the documentation, distribute it to everyone.
Yeah,
And then
and then we can say, hey, I really wanna talk to this person more for XYZ reason, or maybe they're people we all feel comfortable with, we can take it on a case-by-case basis.
okay.
But you've done a ton of legwork, so I don't think we need to get hung up on, we don't have to do things just because we've always done them. It's okay to do things differently.
Right, okay, good. Well, I'll proceed, based on
Yeah.
that. And I'm attending, I attended last month's Queen Anne's County Economic Development meeting, and I found it incredibly relevant, and they had like 20 people, on their committee, and I got a lot out of that. And I guess they think I should be now a permanent member of their group. So they sent me a memo today saying that I'm now the official liaison for
Perfect.
Centreville.
Love that. That's great.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't volunteering for that, but,
Well, it looks like it happened to you anyway. I think that's good.
okay, well, I'm attending the next meeting next week
Awesome.
on that. Sandy and I are also, I think, signed up to do the Wandering Waterway Tour. It's a 2-day commitment for us to do that, and we're having to do some overnight driving back and forth because it's a 2-day event. We're supposed to spend the night in Easton, but we're not gonna do that because we have a board meeting, a council meeting on that night. So we're taking a car down. Yeah, and then we're coming back, and then we'll drive back
Nice.
this morning.
That's
So-
great.
But it should be important for us to learn some insights about what other communities are doing and how.
And that's in April, right?
That is April 16th.
Yes, that's what I thought. I'm golfing in a charity tournament on the 17th, that's why I couldn't go.
It's a lot about land use and what a lot of Eastern Shore, communities, and this is just specific to this region. They've done them all over the state, and they're coming to and it's free, and it's just like an opportunity to network as well as see what other
I think it's
communities are
awesome.
doing. So I think it's just a good opportunity for us to take advantage of.
Cool. All right, anything else?
I just want to confirm, are we registered for the municipal league?
Yes, you are. Everybody is registered for the convention.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
That's all.
All right, great work. Park Advisory Board.
Save you a lot of misery tonight. We'll count Sandy's report on Arbor Day. The pictures are up there. I know Chief's gonna be disappointed we don't have more pictures of trees, but we won't, okay? We'll talk about Arbor Day the next time, too.
I'm very excited. Arbor Day is so much fun.
It is fun.
That's awesome. Okay. Planning Commission.
Yeah, so it was a short meeting, but what was covered last night was Hillside came Liquors, because they needed an extension associated, because they've done a lot of good groundwork. They did a nice discussion last night.
What does the sign look like?
Yeah, they didn't get into that. They were just like, they couldn't put a shovel in the ground to get
Right.
started,
Yeah, they
a
changed
year
architecture or
after. But there was a lot with MDE they had to work out, and as well as Public Works agreement is done, so they mentioned that was completed. The property deed has been recorded, so they've done a lot of good work. And then they've switched to architectural firms, so I think they just had a lot to get done. And Sharon actually had mentioned, like, it's a lot to kind of get everything done in a year and just get all your ducks in a row in order to continue do your construction. So that was approved last night, and they only wanted 6 months, but I think per the code, it's like a year to extend per CARA. So they actually have a year, but they're not going to need a year. It sounds like 6 months to be adequate. So that was approved last night. So it was kind of a short agenda.
Okay. Reports of department heads, town manager.
I don't have a whole lot to report. Last Thursday, myself, Councilmember Huffer, Sharon, Pete Flint, and I attended the county's planning commission about the Providence and Centreville property. So that the planning commission, I don't know that they
Made favorable recommendations.
Yes, they did make a favorable recommendation to the commissioners to remove the open space and waive the zoning. So, I don't know if this is on KIPS, but I got notified today. I don't even know if KIP knows about it yet. I talked to Tanya. If the council remembers, I don't even remember how long ago, maybe 6 months ago, we asked for the opportunity to apply for the LGEM grant, which is to do the energy feasibility study on the wastewater treatment plant. So we received notification today that we were awarded that grant in the amount of $211,000.
Amazing.
So that will, it will do wastewater treatment plant energy feasibility study, comprehensive energy audit, and energy modeling. And then I think once that is done, then we can go back and apply again to be able to implement what they recommend
to do.
So that's all I have tonight.
Okay, awesome. Chief of Police. And don't feel you need to read this to us.
That's not to make the council suffer. So in the February 2026 department overview, obviously I'm not going to read line for line, but anybody viewing that wishes to get these statistics, they are on the town of Centreville's website under the subsection of the police department. They can view them at any time at their leisure. I would like to bring to the attention of the council the special assignments, simply because I want to explain a few of them and highlight one at the very bottom. So under special assignments section, defensive tactics, instructor training, we all know that Lieutenant Larimore goes down to the Criminal Justice Academy, teaches and recruits defensive tactics. The Fallen Heroes ceremony for our Queen Anne County Fallen Heroes, we had multiple staff in attendance of that ceremony, which they have every year. It's a wonderful ceremony. I would advise if council's never attended, they should probably make an appearance. It's always on February 13th of every year, so something to look forward to. Active Assailant Seminar for the town employees. We discussed that in one of the prior town meetings. It's just to give some data points and some ideas of how to better protect themselves during any type of aggressive situation they may encounter down the road. Force Encounter Investigation Training. So Lieutenant Larimore attended this 2-day training in Ocean City. Basically gives them updated data points of any type of force utilized by law enforcement, statistics, data, any type of changes in training or recommendations or mandates that he can bring back and provide and implement to our officers. De-escalation of force training, we sent 2 officers to that down at Warwick Community College. It's a mandated type training. It teaches them different tactics to use to try to de-escalate certain situations they may be encountering. But last and certainly not least is peer support training at Chesapeake College. We had a few of our personnel attend this training. This peer support group was initiated and established by Queen Anne County. And it started with a few of their employees, Jessica Appenzeller and Kelly Payne, who work for the Department of Emergency Services here in Queen Anne County. And this peer support group is coordinated through For All Seasons, if you're familiar with that group, for mental health. So Queen Anne County is sponsoring this group to assist first responders throughout the county with any mental health type issues related to calls that they may have responded to or been exposed to. It helps provide training to the peer support personnel and assistance to anybody that needs it. The group includes not just the Centreville Police Department, but it also includes Queen Anne County Sheriff's Office, EMS, dispatchers, detention center employees, as well as any volunteer firefighters or EMTs. And if the council would oblige, Ms. Kelly Payne, one of the coordinators for this group, had made a comment that kind of hit home with me, and I think it might hit home with the council as well and our community members. So she had stated in a correspondence on social media that as first responders, we are trained to step into chaotic situations and bring calm, but no one teaches us what to do with everything that we carry afterwards. This peer support team is our way of saying that the people behind the uniforms deserve the same care, compassion, and support that we give everybody else. We are building something powerful here, a culture where we show up for each other in solidarity, with strength and with heart. And I supported this group 100% when they came to me and asked for us to provide personnel. They didn't ask for a monetary contribution. The county is going to support this group 100%, any funding that they may need. So I appreciate their zest and initiative in trying to create something like this for all of our first responders. So
That's awesome. I'm glad that that exists. You know, I've checked in with you several times after some of the rough events that we have. I always worry about our officers after, especially because a good thing, they're not at all desensitized to any of it because we don't have a lot of it. But when we do, it's been lately some pretty tough stuff. And so I'm glad that this exists and
Yes,
that you guys are taking part.
it was just recently implemented and it's already been used multiple times. It's a great thing that they've done.
That's awesome.
So, but thank you. Is there any questions from the council?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Town attorney.
I have nothing.
Human resource, or Director of Public Works, sorry, just skipped right over you, Kip. Human Resources, nothing. Okay, Town Clerk.
Been sitting here looking through these papers. I know it's here somewhere. I have 2 updates. Let's hope I get it right. Well, 3. So we are Tree City again for 2025. So we'll update our signs for that. And we'll do the proclamation at the April 2nd meeting. All the those that were reappointed to boards and commissions have been contacted. We do have, I believe, 2 that will not be returning to the board, so we'll have to fill some holes.
Yeah.
And then last, there is, which I was really looking for, this is important, there's the market study, March 25th, that the person who's doing the market study is coming to town. So the council is encouraged to attend. I believe it's the
25th, 4:30 to 5:15. That's what I have on my calendar.
Yes.
I think that's the elected officials, like elected.
little spot to come and listen to and give feedback to what she has to say. She's kind of like interviewing everyone
And where will it be?
at the wharf, first floor meeting room.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'll be there.
And I will email you all with the exact thing. I have it here. I just can't find it.
Awesome. All
And
right, it's on
that's
my
all.
calendar.
And let me write down that I actually spoke. So I put my meeting minutes in my notes, because I didn't last time, but I spoke apparently, and
Oh, you know? All right. Anything else?
that's it. Thanks.
Awesome. We will now have a citizens forum. Mary Margaret? You don't need me. I mean, we just love to see you, so I wasn't sure if you,
I'm meeting with, Mary Margaret had provided me an email today in regards to the 4th of July.
I'm not doing great right
okay.
4th of July event. Barb Pivick and I are meeting tomorrow to go over further details, just so I can
Perfect.
email the council with, it's an enormous undertaking. It's going to be a big event. It's an all-day event. So
I hope I'm still reading. I hope I'm still a reader. I hope I'm still one of your readers. Okay. You know, it's my favorite moment of the year.
Because it's all of the legislators, but
Yeah.
at all the levels.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that, the citizens have to join in. It's the
Yes.
whole thing together.
I'm coming back from vacation a day early to read.
Way much bigger
this year, yeah.
July,
They have quite a big,
the whole day,
the whole day.
Amazing.
So
whole day.
we're gonna Barb is gonna map it out very specifically so I can get that all to you, and then she's filling out the special events permit
One
and
of
everything.
the really big things that Centreville doesn't know about is the Jefferson connection.
Well, we look forward to hearing more about the Jefferson connection.
In a big exhibit.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited about it, and I'm making sure I'm back in town because I know you're going to do an amazing job, you and your team. All right, thank you, Gay. We will now, since no citizens wish to address the council, we'll head into council roundtable. Councilmember Bew.
I had enough to say earlier, so I think we're good.
Councilmember McNeil.
I'll say it quickly. Kip, thank you for taking care of the potholes in Chesterfield Ave. Your crew's out there doing a great job. Thank you. Where are we on the mill? They
That was
cleaned
my
out
whole council roundtable question.
The whole front is cleaned up, but there's still 5 or 6 cars in the back. Where are we on the fence and yada, yada, yada?
Yeah, so they are, he's working with a contractor. Actually, Peter was working with him earlier this week, just double checking what needs to be done. There's gonna be a building permit submitted. They have to put a beam in that building. And then the fence permit. So we're just waiting for the contractor just, yes, it's happening.
Okay, which is
We're just waiting for, and I have a email into the building inspector just to double check what's needed for the beam.
By the way, the 911 Porsche is still there.
It is, I don't believe, from what I spoke with the contractor who did the demolition, I don't believe there's any interest in getting rid of that. So
How many emails did you get on that?
I've gotten a lot, and I just forward them. I'm not the broker, the auto broker, so I just forward those emails, and, whether he responds or not, that's on him. But, yes.
Can I, before I pass, thank you very much, Gay. We had a great time at the Wide River School. It was a lot of fun, and thanks for having us. Bye-bye. I'll be
Awesome.
quiet.
Okay, Councilmember Huffer.
Just a couple things. So on Main Street, Gay, the community survey, so that ended today, right? Just so everybody knows who's watching.
I think is it midnight?
Midnight tonight.
Midnight tonight. So you still have time if you're watching as far as to participate. Do you know how many responses there's
As
been
to date, it was 367.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, they were hoping for 200. I think Carol's was like 500, but, yeah.
Well, right in the middle. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Right in the middle.
That's great. And then, Carolyn, anything on the on the land, the SHA land?
No, I have still put in, I have called the contact person that I got, I have left,
At SHA?
no, at Army Corps. I have left 3 emails, so I'm probably going to end up reaching out to the number I heard back who gave me that and just say, is there somebody else? Because
Right.
the person is not responding to me, so,
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep pursuing, thank you. No, it was just those couple questions, thank you.
okay. I was only going to ask about the mill. I have nothing else. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Return.